Welcome to all of our SVM students. Today we are going to see about dynamics of circular motion. In our daily life, we are making motion from one place to another place. As usually, there we have takes place two types of motion. It is as usual motion. That is, one is linear motion. Okay. Second one is circular motion. You know already about that these two topics, even though we are going to see what is a linear motion. If any object moves in a straight line, that is called as a linear motion. Example, one man going to walk or run along the straight path. He takes place, the motion is called as a linear motion. Or any object, suppose any circular shape or a spherical shape of object moving in one particular direction, these two are making a motion. The type of motion is called as a linear motion. So linear motion means particle can move in a straight line. If any particle moves in a straight line, that can experience the force or may not experience the force. So that's why for takes place of a linear motion, with force or without force, that motion can be takes place. So that's why for analyzing that linear motion, we can use Newton's laws. We know already that we have here three Newton's laws: Newton's first law, second law, and third law. First law, what in our first law says means, without unbalanced force, object can move in a uniform velocity or in rest. So if we have a external force only, object makes a acceleration. The net force is zero. There external force can be taken as a zero. So that's why with or without external force, object can make linear motion. That's why for analyzing that linear motion, we can apply the Newton's laws. And next we are going to see about circular motion. What is circular motion means? If you have one of that circular track, you have a circular track in our sports ground. In that, we or any object moves in the circular path. If any object want to complete one of the circular motion, or it want to move continuously in a circular path means, then that particle makes a circular motion. Then that circular motion can be defined by a definition of our principle. The particle moves in that circumference of that circular path, then that particle makes a circular motion. So that's why we will given the definition of that circular motion. A movement of the particle, or otherwise we can take the object along the circumference of the circle, then the particle or object makes a circular motion. So we have the definition for that circular motion: a movement of the object along the circumference of that circle, then the object makes a circular motion. That type of motions are called as a circular motion, we can say. At the time of particle moves in a circular path, their velocity or direction is changes time to time. If any particle's velocity changes time to time, means we required a force. So that's why the circular motion takes place with force only. Without force, circular motion cannot takes place. So that's why for a circular motion, that Newton's first law is not valid. For a circular motion, Newton's first law is not valid. No Newton's first law for that circular motion, we can say. But in a linear motion, all the three Newton's laws can be applicable. For analyzing that linear motion, we can apply all the three Newton's laws. In our circular motion, we cannot use the Newton's first law. Without force, any object cannot take place the circular motion. So definitely, if the circular, that is, a particle moves in a circular motion, that should be acted upon any one of that force. So there we have two types of circular motion. That two types of circular motions are. There we have two types of circular motions. One is uniform circular motion. Second one can be taken as non-uniform circular motion. Either in uniform circular motion and non-uniform circular motion, definitely some force may be acted on that object. Without force, the particle cannot move in a circular path. So, at the time of particle moving in a circular path, acting most important force is called as a centripetal force. So anyhow, their velocity changes with their force applied on that object. So that's why force act on the object can be changed the velocity in a three different ways. The force act on the object can change the velocity in three different ways. That we are going to see. Whenever you are applying a force on a moving particle, that force can change the velocity of that moving particle. Otherwise, if the particle is at rest, at that time also if you apply a force, that velocity may be changes. Anyhow, due to that force applied on that object, its velocity changes. There we have here three different waves. First one is velocity is a vector quantity, we know that. So that's why that velocity has both magnitude and direction. So for that three-way, first we can consider velocity is magnitude only changes without changing the direction by the external force. So by applying external force, magnitude of the velocity alone changes and direction remains constant. Otherwise we can say remains same. So by applying external force, the moving particles magnitude of the velocity alone changes and the directions remain same, means it takes place only that linear motion, but it makes it accelerated. If you have a net force on that particle, if net force acting on that particle, that force may be one of the object we are going to tackle. If it already moves in this direction, you may apply a force either in the direction of that motion of the object or opposite to the direction of that motion of the object. If you apply a force in the direction of that motion, that makes a positive acceleration. Suppose if you are applying force which is acting opposite to the direction of the motion, means the particle can experience a negative acceleration, whatever may be that. If you apply a force, it changes only the magnitude of the velocity, means that particle makes a linear motion with acceleration. Linear motion with the acceleration. Anyhow, another way we are going to change the velocity by applying a force. Second one. First one is by applying a force, if you change the magnitude of that velocity alone. Now, direction alone we are going to change. By applying a force, the direction of the velocity alone changes. But magnitude remains constant. Magnitude remains constant. This time, the particle can experience a circular motion. If you apply a force continuously to change the direction alone, that circular motion can be take place a uniform circular motion. If you apply this type of force which change the direction only and the magnitude remains constant, means if you apply continuously makes a uniform circular motion. Uniform circular motion. that particle can be takes place. This is the second way to change the velocity by applying a force. Next we have third way. We are going to change both magnitude and the direction by applying a force. Can change both magnitude and the direction of the velocity. So velocities, both component going to change by the force at the time the particle makes non-uniform circular motion. So if you apply the force continuously to change both magnitude and direction means particle makes non-uniform circular motion. So why we are seeing these 3 points means, so any particle want to move in a circular path, it must be experienced a force, then only it can be moved in a circular path. So anyhow, if you apply a force, the moving particle's velocity going to changes. Velocity is a vector quantity. Vector quantity means that vector quantity has both magnitude and direction. So that's why we are going to see, to apply a force on that moving object, velocities either magnitude only changes, direction alone changes, or both magnitude and direction changes. First point is, by applying a force, if velocity is magnitude alone changes without changing the direction means particle can be takes place linear motion with acceleration. The acceleration may be taken either positive acceleration or negative acceleration. Next, second way to change the velocity by applying a force is to change the direction alone, magnitude remains a constant. That is, magnitude of the velocity is nothing but a speed. Speed remains constant. Direction of the velocity is continuously changes means particle can be takes place uniform circular motion. Particle may takes place a uniform circular motion. Suppose that the third point is, third way to change the velocity by applying a force is nothing but both magnitude and direction is the changes. By applying a force, if velocities, magnitude and direction both are changes means, then the particle may be takes place a non-uniform circular motion. If you apply a force continuously to changing the magnitude and the direction, then the particle can be takes place non-uniform circular motion. This is the 3 ways to change the velocity by applying a force. So what may be happen, that the last 2 points regarding that circular motion. Any particle moves in a circular motion, that may be experiences some force, that the force is called as a centripetal force, that is acted towards the center of that circular path. That we are going to see now. Next we are going to see about the centripetal force. Where the centripetal force is acting, which force is called as a centripetal force, that we are going to see here. When the particle moves in a circular path, then the particle can experience the acceleration, because suppose we are taken that circular path, one of that particle that can be taken as a A. One of the particle name is A. If it want to continuously move in its circular path, at that movement in our circular path, their velocity direction point to point changes. At any point, the velocity's direction is in the tangent direction. But point to point, direction of the velocity is changes. Anyhow, due to that, any one of that force, velocity's direction is changes. That force is acting towards the center of that circular path. So that's why that force is called as a centripetal force. Force which is acting on that object when the object is moves in a circular path. At the time, that force may be called as a centripetal force. So that's why we can define the definition of the centripetal force means any particle or any object moves in a circular path or circular track. At the time it want to experience a acceleration. So any object moves in a circular path must acted upon the force. Any object moves in a circular path must acted upon that force. Due to that force, the object experienced acceleration. This acceleration also called as centripetal acceleration. That force is acted towards the center of the circular path for moving the object in a circle. That's why then the force is called centripetal force. So any particle experiences a force when it is moves in a circular path. That force is acted towards the center of the circular path. Then the force is called as a centripetal force. The circular motion may takes place either uniform or non-uniform. We have some of that natural application of that centripetal force. So in that natural applications, some other forces can act as a centripetal force. That forces we are going to list. Forces which are acted as a centripetal force. That are one of that can be taken as gravitational force. Some cases gravitational force acted as a centripetal force. Second one, tensional force. Tensional force. Some cases tensional force can be act as a centripetal force. Some other cases frictional force. acted as a centripetal force. Next we can take an electrostatic force. Also can act as a centripetal force in some cases. Some etc. we have. But anyway, these four we can going to take and to explain. So gravitational force, where it is acted as a centripetal force. Suppose we are going to take an example. We have here for this first point. We have here, if we launch a satellite revolve around the earth. Is a satellite revolve around the earth in its fall. At the time of revolving the satellite around the earth in a circular path, satellite must be experiencing a centripetal force. That centripetal force is given by Earth's gravitational force. The Earth's gravitational force can act as a centripetal force on a satellite which moves in a orbit of a satellite we can take. So in this case, satellite revolve around the earth. The earth gravitational forces act on that satellite, that earth's gravitational forces act as a centripetal force. Next, second case, tensional force. Where we can take an tensional force means, if you take a stone, suppose we are going to take a stone, okay, this stone is going to tied with one of the string. One end of the string is tied with the stone, another end we are going to take in our hand. If you make to whirling motion, that stone can be moved in the circular path, and each and every point that stone can experience a centripetal force. Which force can act as a centripetal force means string's tensional force act as a centripetal force. That's why any object that is stone whirling in a circular path, then with its string, that string's tensional force act as a centripetal force. That is the second example we can take. Third example that can be taken as case 3. Case 3 can be taken as a frictional force. So, any one of us is driving a car. First of all, that car moves in a straight line. At one stage comes a turning, there we have. Arc path we have. If any car moves in an arc path, then we can say car moves in a circular track. Suppose that a circular track is covered, means at the time of covering the circular track, between the tire and that road, some external forces act on that car. That external force is a frictional force. That frictional force given that centripetal force to cover a circular track by the car. That's why at the place of car moves in a turning, that is a circular turning, frictional forces act between that tire and that road, which is act as a centripetal force. That is the third example we can take. Next we have fourth example, electrostatic force. electrostatic force. Suppose if you take an atom, we know what are the fundamental particles in atom is proton, neutron and electrons. That proton and neutrons are accumulated in a nucleus. Proton and neutrons are accumulated in a nucleus, but electron is revolving around the nucleus in its circular orbit. It may be a permitted orbit. If you take in a permitted orbit, electrons can be revolving in a permitted orbits. At the time of revolving in a permitted orbit by the electrons, that makes a circular motion. There, between nucleus to the top moving electron, electrostatic force is acting. That nucleus extract a electrostatic force on that revolving electron to make the electron to move in a circular permitted orbit. So that's why at the time of electrons moving in a circular path or one orbit, that nucleus extract a electrostatic force towards the nucleus. Then the electrostatic force can be act as a centripetal force. So that's why what is the centripetal force? We have completed. Before that, we have completed the dynamics of a circular motion. If any particle want to takes place a circular motion, definitely that particle can experience a centripetal force. Towards the center, that force may be acted. In general, in a circular motion, if want to move in a circular path means the particle should experience a centripetal acceleration. That centripetal acceleration is act towards the center of the circular path. That centripetal acceleration is happened based on that Newton's second law due to the force, one of the force. That force may be called as a centripetal force. So that's why we can take one of the circular path. If a particle is here, may represented as A, it want to move in its circumference of that circular orbit, circular path. At each and every point, their velocity direction is V, act in that tangent direction. But on that particle, force is acting towards the center of the circular path. So that force act towards the center of the circular path. That's why that is called as a centripetal force. And if you take the point is here, the velocity direction is tangent direction of that point in a circular path. But force is act towards the center of the circular path. FC, that is vector. Then here if you take another point, velocity direction is this. Centripetal force direction is this direction. FC will be vector. Another point if you take velocity direction is centripetal force is acting. So each and every point in our circular path, if we have a particle, their velocity is acting tangent direction, but force is act towards the center of the circular path. So that's why that force is centripetal force. That particle can experience a centripetal acceleration. So that's why centripetal acceleration formula can be taken as A suffix Cp equal to V squared by R. According to that Newton's second law. Second law, if any particle experiences acceleration, the acceleration must be happened due to the top applied unbalanced force. That is, external force act on that particle. So that's why here centripetal acceleration is happened by the centripetal force. That's why that the centripetal force FCP equal to, if you take a magnitude alone, FCP is equal to M into ACP. For that, we will substitute the value. FCP is equal to M into V squared by R. That is, centripetal force magnitude is FCP equal to mv squared by R. In a vector form, if you want to produce, okay, that force formula is FCP vector equal to minus M into V squared by R into R cap. So we can take an FCP vector equal to mv squared by R into minus R cap. That is opposite to the direction of that radial vector that centripetal force is acting. In general, anywhere the particle moves in a circular path, that can be experienced via centripetal acceleration as well as the centripetal force. Centripetal forces act always towards the center of the circular path. If you take a satellite revolve around the earth, that earth gravitational force act on that satellite towards that earth. That gravitational force is called as a centripetal force. Otherwise, if you take an atom, we have a nucleus, positive charged nucleus. Around the positive charged nucleus, electrons are revolving. At the time of revolving, electron can experience a centripetal force. But nucleus extract a centripetal force on a electron, revolving electron. Whatever may be that, the centripetal force formula is this. So that's why R vector is acting from center to that circumference. But minus R vector means towards the center. So overall view for anywhere, the centripetal force can be taken as FCP equal to mv squared by R. If gravitational field, if you taken, that gravitational force can be act as a centripetal force. That is, for a satellite revolving around the earth, the gravitational force equal to centripetal force. When electron revolving around the nucleus, electrostatic force equal to centripetal force. Otherwise, any car or bus moves in a circular track or bending track, there frictional force is acting as a centripetal force. Whatever may be the centripetal force formula is this. So, in overall view, we have discussed about that dynamics of the circular motion as well as the derive the formula for that centripetal force. So centripetal force formula is F is equal to mv squared by R. Thank you.